Hello, everyone, and welcome to Draft Dreams, an Inside the Birds presentation profiling small school NFL draft prospects chasing their big dreams. I'm your host, Andrew DiCecco from InsideTheBirds.com, and with us today is Zyon McCollum, a playmaking defensive back prospect from Sam Houston State. Zyon, thanks for being with us today. I'm really excited to dive in and talk about your journey.
Of course. I'm glad to be on. Appreciate you guys for having me.
Absolutely. So you're from Galveston, Texas. You ran a 4.4 40 in high school, and you were also a team captain. So what were some of the teams or some of the schools rather, that you were deciding between coming out of high school, and what led you to Sam Houston State?
Yeah, started my recruiting journey in high school, committed to Utah for majority of the recruiting process. We attended, we being me and my twin brother, and Sam Houston State and Utah were the first two schools to offer us completely. And so we committed pretty early on, ended up not working out there. Family wasn't going to be able to see us all the way up in Utah. And, I love Texas. So ended up staying home and attending Sam Houston. But after we decommitted, we were getting interest from schools like Tulane, Texas State, a lot of other FCS schools too. It was just so late in the recruiting process. We're really blessed that Sam Houston still had their offer.
Talk a little bit about your brother. I mean, how competitive was it growing up with him?
Crazy competitive. I mean, we're competing in everything. Like, mom calls us for dinner and we're competing like who's the first one to get in their seat ready. You know what I mean? Like, all this crazy stuff, but I'm so blessed to have a twin. I wish everybody had a twin, honestly. I mean, you never get bored. You always got somebody to pass the football with. Always got somebody to critique you but still love you with all their heart. So it's really awesome.
And it probably helps to have someone you can bounce ideas off of going through this whole draft process.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Ideas, training, giving each other mock interviews, acting like we're the scout or the coach. Like,
nice.
We go through everything.
So you were an immediate sensation at Sam Houston State, the first true freshman to have 3 interceptions in nearly 35 years. You also had 15 pass breakups and even a sack. So take me through your freshman year and how you were able to have that sort of an impact.
Yeah, I mean, first it was just learning the system. Trying to know it like the back of my hand. I remember I was making calls in our defense within like the first week of summer, so really learning the playbook was really big on me. But I mean, I didn't start completely right away. I played in every game, but I didn't start till that third contest. So it was really just, getting used to the tempo of the game and the speed of the game, and basically building trust for my coaches and my teammates so that they can really lean on me when I am in the game. And of course, as a young freshman, just now starting college ball, you're going to get tried a lot. So being able to just make plays when they come to me, just fall back on my training and trust and just play my best. And I knew that I was going to get a lot of tries, but I knew that I can make a lot of plays at the same time.
You talk about getting tried. I mean, that's something that, like you said, every freshman really experiences, especially at corner. What were some of the early growing pains that you encountered, and how were you able to sort of work through that?
Yeah, really just learning how to finish through and then just make plays for myself, a ton. I was getting to the plays. My coach used to call me Catch 22 because my jersey is 22. He said I was either going to make this spectacular play or it was just going to be kind of mediocre and I wasn't going to make it at all. So really just getting over that stigma of just making everything that comes to me and learning, to be more consistent as a player.
You had 3 more interceptions as a sophomore, and you were all Southland first team. Did you ever have your eye on transferring to another school, or were you always committed to Sam Houston?
I was always committed to Sam Houston, honestly, from the jump. I mean, my freshman year, we made it to the semifinal round in the FCS playoffs and ended up losing to North Dakota State. And we didn't just lose. It wasn't a close game either. We got blown out, and that was just a bitter taste in my mouth. And just seeing all the coaches and my teammates, how they felt after a loss like that. And me as a freshman, I was looking at my freshman class like we could build something special here if we just stick together. And so I knew that, transferring out, I was never going to be able to achieve that, especially after having that, taste. And so staying loyal was always something that was important to me. And I just wanted to chase a championship and win a championship with my teammates. And so I wasn't going to stop until we achieved that goal.
Yeah, I mean, you got to respect that. I mean, you mentioned losing the championship to North Dakota State in 2017. How rewarding was it to get that national title over South Dakota State in 2020?
Man, it was everything. I still replay those moments in my head, just building on all of that. I remember that loss like it was yesterday. I remember the championship win like it was yesterday. And it just basically, it helped prove, Tristan and I are correct in terms of just staying loyal and staying persistent and just showing up every day with your teammates, building love and relationships and just giving it your all. I mean, winning national championship is an unbelievable feeling, and I wish it on everybody.
Absolutely. You had an interception every season, I think, and 4 times out of those 5 seasons, you had at least 3 interceptions. How did you become a playmaker?
That's a testament to, God first and foremost, the work that I've put in and my coaches. I try to see myself as like a sponge. So, whatever information that's being given to me from a coach or from anybody who's really trying to help me, I'm going to take it all in and I'm going to learn from it as much as I can. And so whether it's a new technique or a new style of playing or a new position, I'm going to soak it all in. And so when you're soaking everything in and you eliminate all the worries that you have and just be the best that you can be, I mean, players are going to come. And that was one thing that my coach used to tell me a lot. Just do your job each and every play. Everybody, all 11 players on the defense, you're going to have around like 5 to 6 plays that you're going to be a factor on. So if you just stay consistent, don't get bored, and wait for those 5 to 6 plays to come and make them when they arrive, that you're going to be a playmaker at the end of the year.
Absolutely. I've watched plenty of film on you, and you are a playmaker. I mean, the one thing that stands out is your ball skills and your football IQ. So what's the key to creating turnovers from your vantage point?
Definitely it starts, at the beginning of the week and understanding the game plan, why it is, you want to know who you're going up against, what type of offensive scheme that is going to be playing against you, whether it's a, I formation, pro run style offense, or they're going to spread it out and move the ball quickly. So watching film is a really, really big part of my game, and understanding how to watch film for my coach, I'm looking up all types of cut-ups of the offense, in all types of situations, first through third down, red zone versus coming out, all types of things. And you start to, notice trends and really get a feel for what the offensive coordinator is trying to accomplish. And that's when you can really set your own plays up. And so just understand, when this motion comes, then they run these 3 plays. Or with this split from the receiver, they got 2 inside routes and they got 2 outside routes. Understanding all type of that really helps you make plays. And, most plays, you set them up. They're not just spontaneous.
Matchup wise, who would you consider to be your toughest cover in college?
Yeah, I mean, Christian Watson was obviously the most athletic, guy that I faced in terms of him just being all around, height, speed. The biggest technician that I've probably had to cover, a receiver from Nichols, Zyon Dixon. He just understood how to run routes, and he understood how to use his body, to his advantage in all type of situations like that. And he was tall, he was big too, but he really knew how to run routes, which I respected a lot. And playing a lot of man coverage, any receiver that can really, really run routes, I'm going to know it. And he was one of those guys.
Now, if you had to critique yourself, how do you think you fared against Christian Watson?
I thought I fared really, really well in terms of their scheme. I don't think that North Dakota State was, the scheme that really shows what he can do. North Dakota State, they're going to run the ball, run, and then play action pass. And so He can stretch the field, he'll get the jet sweeps. So in their scheme, he wasn't too tough to cover. He's not going to run the entire route tree. I'm curious to see how he would do in more of a spread style offense that really allows him to run routes. I think he'd be a tougher cover in that situation, but I can't say that it was, crazy during the North Dakota State game. It's just simply off of their offensive scheme.
Yeah, you're right. That's interesting. So you spent 5 years at Sam Houston State. I assume the extra year was due to the COVID rule.
Yeah.
How beneficial was that for you?
Crazy beneficial. I mean, especially coming off of injury my junior year. I ended up missing the last 3 games of the season due to a wrist injury. And so being able to get, more than 365 days of recovery in before the start of that season, I felt it was an advantage to me. COVID, it sucked and everything, but I was, I'm an optimist and I'm always going to try to look for the best in every situation. And so not only just getting back from injury, but just getting closer with our teammates and really grinding hard. You know, it was a time where we really had to come together and we had to lean on each other through a bunch of tough times. And I think that really pushed us, you know, in terms of getting over adversity to achieving that championship.
You played for KC Keeler, who obviously has local ties here. He was the head coach at the University of Delaware, won an FCS title in 2002, and he's been to others. What was it like playing for him?
Yeah, he's great as a coach. I mean, he's a mentor to not only us as players, but to his staff members and everybody around him. And he's a really nice facilitator. He's going to fight for you, you know, teeth and nail all the way. And I really respect that about him. And he's a positive leader. He's not going to shy away from things that are tough. And, you know, his leadership, you know, I'm so thankful for it and everything that he, you know, taught us and was able to build a team that we can remember forever.
Did he ever mention coaching Joe Flacco or anything from those days?
Oh, yeah. He always talks about his Delaware days as much as he can. We had some Delaware, some of his former players were on the coaching staff. So we always run this joke how he's always going to mention Delaware at some point, you know, coming to the new players and all that, and how great they were at Delaware. But now that we got a national championship too, it's a toss-up, you know. It's better for him, Delaware or Sam Houston.
What was the most memorable play, in your opinion, that you made throughout your career?
I made, man, there's a lot of plays. Probably one of my favorite plays was against University of Incarnate Ward in 2019. We were on the goal line, and I believe it was third down, and they motioned my man across the formation. I switched responsibilities with the safety and went to the running back, and they hit him in the flat, and I beat him to the pylon and ended up forcing a fumble on the 1 yard line that we also recovered. And so I was having a really, really good game. I think I already had an interception that game as well. And so just that was like the cherry on top, and it really, you know, gave me so much confidence. And anytime a corner, you know, I love catching interceptions. You know, that's my thing. You know, getting my hands on the ball in that type of way. But so when you can get a forced fumble or really show your aggression as a corner, you know, I love that too.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. I was going to say, would you rather get an interception or a sack as a corner?
Interception all day. I need that money.
Now, if you could, I'd like you to take listeners through what it was like for you, how you found out that you were getting the combine invite, and what that week was like for you. Because as I've told listeners, there's so many different things that go into the NFL Combine week that a lot of people don't know beyond the workouts. So if you wouldn't mind sharing your story from your experience.
Yeah, I mean, getting the invite, I was literally laying in bed. And when I first got it was an email that was sent. When I first got the email, I didn't think it was real. I thought it was like some spam. There was this like video that was frozen picture. Like, I didn't really understand it. But then I kind of looked at it later on that day and was like, wait a second. This is like the legit NFL Combine. And I was ecstatic. You know, I told my brother, I told my family immediately. And really, you know, I enjoyed the moment for a little bit, but my focus just immediately went on to, you know, this is getting like really real, and let's see what we can do. You know, can we make something crazy out of this? Just because I knew that I was athletic going in, but I wanted to see, you know, how far could I really push it?
Yeah, I mean, you ran a 4.3 at the combine. Was that your goal going into it?
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to touch 4.3. I knew that I was, you know, a 4.4 low type player, you know, just right away. But I knew that if I put the work in, that I trained the way that I needed to, that I was going to get 4.3, which was my goal going into it, for sure. And so running 4.33, that was a blessing.
Where were you training for the combine?
I was training at Exos in Frisco.
Oh, cool. Were there any other prospects that you were training with?
Oh yeah, there was a ton. Corners alone. I mean, we had Sauce Gardner, Derek Stingley, Cordell Flott, Cam Taylor-Britt, Caleb Evans. You know, a lot of corners we were training with, which just upped the ante even more. We were all competing with each other. You know, pulling each other. You know, always talking noise around each other, just to build that, you know, brotherhood and that camaraderie, and really see, you know, as a group, you know, you can go far alone, but you can go further together. And I feel like, we bonded in that time, and it pushed us. We were going into the combine as a group saying, let's dominate as a facility.
I was going to say, everybody thinks that wide receivers are the ones that have the dynamic personalities, but I think defensive backs have more bravado than any position.
Oh, yeah, always the loudest in the room. And we are the first group in the mornings that start the day for that NFL Combine prep. So, we're going to set the tone. We're going to be loud. We're going to bring energy and just light up that entire facility.
What kind of feedback were you getting from teams at the Combine?
A lot of positive feedback. They, loved my intelligence and what I understood. And, I could really, I see myself, I don't like to say I have any weaknesses, and the weaknesses that I do have, I'm going to work on them until I turn them into positives. So being able to show my versatility and being able to be flexible to any type of, defensive scheme, I think they really utilize as a tool. And again, I just want to show them my value as well. I don't mind playing all type of special teams or playing any position on defense, really, where I'm going to bring value and get a team closer to hoisting that trophy at the end of the season.
You also impress at the Senior Bowl. And that's crucial, obviously, as a small school prospect going against, big school guy, big name guy. So how do you think that you fared, and what did you learn about yourself during that week?
Yeah, I thought I performed pretty well. I thought, for one, the most importantly, I grew as the week went on. And really the biggest thing that I learned going into that week is just, the abundance of techniques and the amount of football that I still can be better at, and so I still don't know. Especially man-to-man, I utilized the single-hand jam in my technique for my entire career. And, going to the Senior Bowl after day one, having the coaches sit down with me and be like, okay, no more single-hand jam. We want to see you work a period step. We want to see you stay square at the line of scrimmage and not open the gate too quickly. And so being able to, see that and realize that part of my game, like, yes, that is something that I can get better at, and being able to practice it and see myself get better at it as the week went, it gave me a lot of confidence in terms of my training now, and just, being ready to get better at certain techniques that the NFL and their coaching staff would like to see me get better at. And especially competing with a lot of those big names and big schools, that was really cool seeing the speed of the game change a little bit, especially from a skill level position. I feel like there's not a crazy amount of change in terms of, size, speed and athleticism. But the confidence levels are definitely different in guys. People, they carry themselves like they're the man, and so being able to see that was really cool. But the biggest difference is definitely the O-line, D-line. Those guys are some monsters at that level.
No doubt. Looking at yourself objectively, obviously you have the size and the speed, but knowing yourself, I'm pretty sure that you're a perfectionist. So what area of your game would you like to improve on the most?
Yeah, I definitely want to learn to be more versatile in terms of my press technique at the line of scrimmage. It's keeping my hips square and being a little more, just less opening up the gate. But one thing immediately that I want to change is my ability to play the deep ball and being able to get my head around quicker and attack footballs in that way. I feel like I kept my head a little on my man a little too much, which is safe. But I mean, in the NFL, you're going to get, pass interference and all type of stuff. So really being able to turn into the receiver, and then also just not making the big plays in the run game. A lot of times I'm just going in there trying to blow people up and just learning to, come to balance a little bit more, wrap up and drive them down, live to see another play.
So what kind of questions were you asked from NFL teams at the Combine and the Senior Bowl? Anything out of the ordinary?
Nothing too crazy out of the ordinary. A lot of twin stuff, of course. Are you faster than your twin? All type of stuff like that. But really just trying to learn the defensive scheme that I came from, and a lot of teaching, trying to install their own defenses to me and having me spit it back to them as quickly and efficiently as I could.
Have you been speaking to a lot of NFL teams lately via Zoom or, going to any official visits?
Yeah, I had a 30 visit with the Vikings, and then we just got back from the Texans Friday. But Zoom meetings, a ton of Zoom meetings. At least one Zoom meeting a daily, sometimes two. So it's heating up, but we're at the end of the process. So
yeah, the finish line's there. The finish
Exactly.
line's there, man. Have you had any contact with Philadelphia at all throughout the process?
Yeah, I actually have a Zoom meeting with Coach tomorrow at 2 p.m. So I'm
Oh,
excited.
cool. The DC?
I'm not sure exactly. I will definitely know by tomorrow. Let me see. Let me check really quick. Coach McDonald.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I understand that. I mean, I found this out just moments ago before we started recording, but you're an Eagles fan. So I need to hear about the origins of this and how difficult it was for you growing up in Texas.
Growing up in Texas, especially being born probably 20 minutes from Dallas. My mom's a Dallas Cowboys fan. My dad was a Cowboys fan. My entire family, quite frankly, all Cowboys fans. But Tristan and I don't know, something a little different. Tristan, he was actually the first one. He was undoubtedly Eagles fan from the jump. As soon as he turned on football for the first time and he saw that green eagle, he was sold all the way. It took me a little bit longer, and then he finally just pulled me in. And we loved, debating. We were on the debate team in high school, and so we loved debating with our family and being a little rebellious towards them. You always got something to argue about on Thanksgiving or something. It's easy to be a Cowboys hater, but it's more easy to be an Eagles lover.
So when you look at the NFL as it is right now, who were some of your influences, and is there any particular defensive back that you pattern your game after?
Not necessarily. I watch a lot. Jalen Ramsey, in terms of just the way that he carries himself and his confidence. I think he's a dog, and he carries himself well for the corner position. But then also seeing, on the other side, guys like Stephon Gilmore, who are just, technicians, and are just really, really calm, patient. They're not gonna bring a crazy amount of energy, but that they're gonna be technically sound and play smart football. And so I try to, take peeks at everybody.
Zyon, how confident are you in your abilities to compete at the pro level, and why?
Oh, I'm extremely confident, just knowing my athleticism. I think that I'm a very, very rare combination of athleticism and intelligence. And I know that I'm a sponge. I come from a teaching background. My dad's a coach. My mom's a teacher. My grandpa was a principal, grandma daycare. I mean, it's just really in my blood. And so I understand how to be coachable, and I understand what it takes, to get to that next level. And so me just being a sponge combined with that athleticism and intelligence, I'm just going to soak in all the information that whatever coaching staff, has the ability to work with me, has to offer. And we're going to go from there. My main focus is just, trying to increase my value. And I really just want to show whatever organization that picks me, how much they're really getting.
How about off the field? What are some of your hobbies?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too much into video games, but I like hiking. Coming from Galveston, where I went to high school, there was always a lot of fishing. Always running on seawall and stuff like that. So I enjoy things like that. But I like cooking too. My mom, she's a pescatarian, so I love, cooking fish for her. And my grandpa, he loves to cook too, so he always teaching me some tips and things like that. So all type of stuff like that.
That's good, man. That I'm big into cooking myself. And you started at an earlier age than me, getting really into it.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I'm not a chef yet, but I'd say I'm a home cook.
Have you given any thought to when you're going to hear your name called on draft weekend and what that might be like?
I mean, you look at there's mock drafts all over Twitter and social media, and hearing things and podcasts and all type of stuff like that. It's nice to hear, and I'm always going to hope for the best, but really I'm not too concerned about that. I'm more concerned about rookie minicamp starting in 3.5 weeks, and just being ready for that and preparing for the season. And those veteran guys are already a step up on us. They're already ahead. They know what system they're in. They know they're already training. So really just trying to keep up with those guys and, just focus on the season.
That raises an interesting question, what you said, and how difficult, because you mentioned all the mock drafts and all the, we're approaching smoke screen week. It's the week of the draft where you hear all these different things. How difficult is it, or how challenging is it to block out all the noise and really focus on what you need to do with all this outside noise coming in, especially as we're closing in on draft weekend?
I mean, at first it was pretty difficult, because it's all new. It's brand new and you're seeing things for the first time, and it's easy to get captured in it. But I mean, once sitting back and, realizing, I talk to Tristan about it all the time. There's 100%, it's 100% that we're going to be on an NFL team. We're going to be in somebody's helmets in 4 weeks, regardless. It doesn't really matter about round or where you go and when, that you're going to be on a team in 4 weeks. So we have to prepare for that moment. We'll figure out, who we're playing for and who we're going to give our all to on our own when the time comes. But the main focus is just on rookie minicamp and moving on from there.
Yeah, that's a really mature way of looking at it, and I think that's an important mindset to carry through the process, because it can get overwhelming, I imagine. But are you going to be glued to your TV on draft weekend, or do you have any plans? How are you going to spend the weekend?
Yeah, I'm going to spend the time with my family up at home at my mom's house, and invite my girlfriend's family and some close friends, and we're going to spend that together and just reminisce on all the years and, see where we end up and go from there.
That's awesome. Well, we wish you the very best in your future, and I look forward to seeing what the future holds for you. For Zyon McCollum, I'm Andrew DiCecco. Thanks for watching Draft Dreams on Inside the Birds. Have a great week, everyone.